Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network, a division of the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network. The following program broadcast is an original creation by the broadcast entity. Discussion within the following broadcast should be used for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice or consultation. Before considering application of any broadcast content in the following program, please consult your healthcare provider. If you feel you are having a medical emergency, please contact your local health services for immediate assistance. MS&Me Media and the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network do not guarantee or warrant the accuracy of information in the broadcast to follow. The Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network provisions broadcast services to program hosts. Information discussed in the broadcast does not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or goals of the network and are solely those of the show broadcast host. Should you wish to host a broadcast, please visit our website at msmemedia.com and submit a request to become a program host. We thank you for listening to the MS&Me Radio Network. Enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Dawn Melanie. I thank you for joining me today for another episode of my series, Managing Self, where I have the opportunity to share with you, the listener, my personal experiences that I continue to use to successfully manage my multiple sclerosis. This fall marks the start of my 20th year of my MS journey. My symptoms actually onset September 11th, 1998. During the past 2 decades, I've had my share of MS challenges, not just the numbness and tingling, nor the heat sensitivity and the cold sensitivity, and the continued intentional tremors I still experience almost daily. But I've also been deaf, I've been blind, and I've had drop foot, and couldn't walk, couldn't drive. But basically I've had more than enough flare-ups. But one thing that I've noticed is when I ate better, I felt better. Healthier eating. I remember starting to change my food choices mostly when I started college in 1990 at Tulane University in New Orleans, Louisiana. Well, there's a considerable percentage of Jewish students attending, over a quarter, and me being open to new ideas, I learned pretty quickly to love bagels and lox. Lox is fillets of brine salmon. Now, before the days of Yelp, before the days of the World Wide Web, before Google, some millennials may only know the World Wide Web as the internet, but in my freshman year in 1990, that foodie in me located a nearby restaurant just off of campus that offered what I consider today still the ultimate culinary mashup for me personally. It was a combination of my long-term favorite, pizza, and my new love, bagels and lox. This place made I'd say the best salmon and lox pizza there was. Kind of like a salmon lox pizza supreme. The base was cream cheese, and on top of that was these nice juicy tomato slices, slices of red onion, and capers on there. So, I was loving this, right? But even though I was enjoying these new foods, which I was introduced to in college, I was still influenced by the large Catholic population in the city, my hometown, which is New Orleans. And although I'm not Catholic, like many non-Catholic New Orleanians, I recognize the Lenten season. On Fridays, eating no meat. The only protein that I ate on Fridays was fish or oysters in the half shell, which were taken right out of the Gulf of Mexico. Lent is a period of fasting, moderation, and self-denial. As a Christian, I'll focus on the repenting of sinful habits during this time, setting aside some time to focus on Jesus' death and the resurrection. But, even though we're supposed to do that all the time, not just during this 46 day period, I was still influenced by my social environment And every year of my undergraduate studies, also my postgraduate studies, my professional career, I gave up something that I enjoyed, and this usually was a food item. This Lenten season starts on Ash Wednesday, which is the day after Fat Tuesday, or Mardi Gras, and through Easter. Basically ends on the Saturday until Easter Sunday. It's actually a period of 46 days, or 40 days if the Sundays aren't included, but per my calendar and my schedule, it was 46 days. Some of the items that I gave up during this 46 days were pretty significant for a college undergrad to just forgo. The main items included sodas, regular sodas, not diet stuff. I think back then college students didn't even touch diet sodas or low calorie anything. The main items are like sodas, fried foods, fried seafood, fried French fries, and sugary desserts. New Orleanian, born and raised. Again, got my undergrad education there. Pecan pralines, nothing but sugar. The main ingredient there. Also, gluten items like French bread, which, often was on the po' boys, or the po' boys were made with French bread. So, what exactly did that mean for me? These changes that I made, especially during this Lenten season. Well, my go-to breakfast, lunch, and dinner had to change during this time, or at least be modified. Routinely, my breakfasts were 32 ounces of orange juice, a buttermilk biscuit slathered in butter, and 4 strips of crispy bacon. Pork bacon, not turkey bacon, but real bacon. Pork bacon. My lunch was pretty much every day a Pizza Hut Supreme Pizza, cheese fries, and a 32-ounce Dr. Pepper, not diet. For dinner, I oftentimes had a 36-inch po' boy. That, the sandwich on the French bread with, by the way, yeah, I did say 36 inches. That's 3 feet. 3 feet. A 36-inch po' boy with fried shrimp and or fried oysters. Or sometimes I get it with a fried hot sausage and gravy and cheese. Yeah. The convenience of getting this food, I consider tasty food, was pretty much an understatement, because actually, like I said, before Yelp, I did a lot of research on food and where to find the best food available. So I was able to find this a guy named Domino. And of course, there's no relation to the pizza delivery place, which had taken off, and we all know. But Domino delivered these 36-inch po' boy sandwiches for a pretty modest price, especially for a college student. I mean, the prices were less than a pizza, only $9.99. Hear me loud and clear. I never felt bad when I stopped eating those foods for that period of time, during the Lenten season. However, I did notice some discomfort when I returned to the consumption of fried foods. One particular daunting experience, which always comes to mind, soon after the Lenten season was over, and fried foods were back on my table, back in my life. I was eating a regular size oyster po' boy, not the 36-inch monster, but that left me in a fetal position on the floor of my apartment. This was soon after I graduated my undergrad, and I continued what I deem as a totally irresponsible eating habits, or basically gorging on food, bad food. And I did this through my early professional career, drinking sodas, probably a 6-pack of sodas every day, while we were at the client doing audits, just having snacks and junk food and hard candy there. But I continue to do this irresponsible eating, and thankfully I also continued working out. And to manage my stress, just like I had done in college, working out. Hear me loud and clear. I never felt bad when I stopped eating those foods during the Lenten period, the ones that Lenten season, pardon me, the foods that I gave up for those 46 days. I never felt bad during that time. However, I did notice some discomfort when I returned to eating those foods. One particular daunting experience always comes to mind. Soon after, probably within a year, soon after I graduated, I started working. But the Lenten season was over, and when I reintroduced into my life, put it back on my table, fried foods, I ordered a regular size oyster po' boy, not 36 inches, but just a regular po' boy. And after eating it, I was in the fetal position on the floor of my apartment. And like I said, this was soon after I graduated, 1994. And I continued to eat like this, what I deemed totally irresponsible eating or gorging through my professional career as an auditor. But thankfully, I also continued to work out to manage my stress, just like I had began in college. I say thankfully because I was diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis, in 1989, less than 5 years after graduation. And I started my competitive bodybuilding career 3.5 years after diagnosis. And there I was again, adding this, taking away that food, to making changes. Of course, wanting to excel at my new unforeseen hobby, I started to really read food labels and doing research on what was good for me, and for my MS, not just to win on the competition stage. So, yeah, I took it to heart so much that there I was. I was a CPA, certified public accountant, so CIA, certified internal auditor. I had an MBA with a concentration in MIS, Management Information Systems, who also had MS, multiple sclerosis, and who later added some more initials to her name. I became a CFT, a certified fitness trainer. Why? Well, because I needed to know how foods were affecting me and my MS. Why didn't I just hire someone to guide my competition prep stuff, workouts and diets? It's all over the internet. There's so many groups out there. Why didn't I just hire somebody? Because it's easy, because like over 15 years ago, despite all the hours and days I spent in the gym, even more than I do today, I didn't meet any trainers who seemed to care. Really care about how MS was affecting me. The daily unpredictable challenges, especially the invisible ones. My MS fatigue. Y'all know that other level of tiredness. Not just tired, but MS tiredness. I tried a few trainers. I tried working out with different workout partners. But I heard, give me 3 more, too many times. And I decided to take the matters into my own hands. I read everything I came across about MS. Of course, working out and diet. And I was thinking, okay, there's got to be something out there to address our special needs, people with MS. If you are listening today, you too probably have MS and may be wondering, well, what is that MS diet? This diet that, that we MSers need to follow for optimal health. I thought the same thing. Which food should I be eating? Also thought, which food should I avoid? Also thought, well, should I be taking any supplements? If so, which ones? How much? Well, over the years, I've learned that there's no one single answer. There is no single diet that can treat or cure MS. Probably because MS symptoms come and go, kind of always changing. Measuring the effectiveness of a diet for someone with MS can actually be difficult, because you may already know, probably know, that MS is an inflammatory condition. And foods that cause this inflammation potentially can increase the incidence or the severity of MS symptoms. Me, myself, every day, every single day, I am fully conscious of what I eat, of the foods that I eat, of the foods that I do not eat. You know, particularly I'm conscious of the foods that I don't eat often, because I never say never. I'll never say I'll never eat any foods, but I will say that I may sometimes pass on a second helping of those foods. So I focus on moderation. So the foods that I know that are potentially inflammatory for my condition, I I will consume them only in moderation, only in moderation. Now, although there is no specific diet, MS diet that is, many people with MS, myself included, say they feel better when they eat healthier. I first noticed that with that oyster po' boy, how bad my body felt, reacted, literally gastrointestinal intestinal cramping, heaving. I think you get the picture. After going 46 days of not eating any greasy foods, deep fried in animal fat, my body, I guess, basically wanted to reject it. But on the flip side of that, I also noticed how good I felt when I was on a diet that was close to my quote-unquote competition diet. This diet was basically of foods that were low in saturated fats, very little sugar. And actually, any sugar I consumed was from fruit, only with a low glycemic index. So that means that the sugar level didn't spike my blood sugar level. So, mainly berries like strawberries and things like that. I rarely ate weird. I rarely ate like a cherry or other fruit that are have a higher sugar content. And during my competition diets, I didn't really consume any milk products. But like I said, whenever I mirrored that or closely was in line with that, my diet, I felt better. So, you're probably thinking, wait. That's it? Could that be the diet for which we are searching? Pardon me, a competition diet? I would like to say I wish, but of course not. Remember, I tell people, remember, those were my personal experiences. But I'm not surprised that to this day there's still no 100% consensus, even among the MS specialists, regarding diet. More importantly, I'm impressed that a lot of what I ate and what I did not eat when competing in the fitness world was actually in line with a healthy diet according to the American Cancer Society and the American Heart Association. Okay, cancer, heart disease. I know that's not MS. MS isn't cancer, nor is it heart disease, but in the general population, the leading causes of death are heart disease and cancer. And it is the same for those people suffering with MS. So today, I basically want to review with you some key elements that are agreed upon by these organizations of what's considered to be a healthy diet. And me, myself, personally, I support these because, like I said, when I closely follow these quote-unquote guidelines, I did feel better with my MS. Not only what I eat, but what I drink. The consumption of diet drinks, beverages with caffeine, and of alcohol should be done in moderation. Why? Because drinks with aspartame, caffeine, and alcohol can irritate the bladder. So it's suggested to stay away from those items if you do have bladder-related MS symptoms. And one more thing I want to point out is that aspartame does not cause MS. It's simply a myth. Regarding sugar, interestingly, sugar has not been proven to increase MS symptoms or the severity. However, with excessive calories usually comes extra weight. Talking about fat, not muscle. And this extra weight raises, the calories in the extra weight. Basically, you're adding the risk of obesity and heart disease. It also may increase MS-related fatigue, and in return, challenging your mobility. One thing also we know from excessive sugar is we also risk the increased chance of developing type 2 diabetes. Indulging in an occasional dessert, fine. Well, in my humble opinion. And I hope you all basically enjoyed a gathering with your family and friends over the past Thanksgiving holiday. But again, I want to stress in moderation of those items that may have a negative impact on your MS. Note again, I say in moderation because exclusivity of any foods in our diets may result in depriving your body of key nutrients that you need. Remember to basically pay attention to your body. Remember I spoke of the gluten in the French bread that I ate in college. Gluten is basically a protein complex that's found in 75 to 85% of all the total protein in bread. In bread, wheat, and wheat, barley, rye. Basically gives the dough its elasticity, its rise, and its shape and chewy taste. Now, I did. That's one of the foods that I did eat in college. I'm not gluten intolerant. Some of you may be. People who are gluten intolerant may have gastrointestinal manifestations, a celiac disease, where it can be very painful if you eat gluten. So I myself, I'm not gluten intolerant, and I'll eat bread every now and then. I will basically not eat as much bread because, of course, well, the extra calories and things like that. I'm aware again of what I'm eating, and I don't need to eat a lot of quote unquote bad stuff or that doesn't meet my nutritional needs. Fried foods, I avoid them like the plague. That is today. The foods that are high in saturated fat, red meat, butter, cheese, full fat dairy products. I really do watch the quantity that I consume. Some of you may have heard of a swank diet, which says like avoid all of that, but when you do stuff like that, you may miss out on again the key nutrients that you need, like vitamin D, which is a fat soluble a fat soluble vitamin. Trans fats, want to be aware of because those are basically the kind of I say almost like man-made fats where manufacturers add hydrogen to liquid vegetable oil to make it more solid, basically to make it taste more palatable. These things, of course, is bad for these saturated fats, these trans fats, because you risk increased risk levels of heart disease and heart attack and stroke, things like that. So these things definitely I avoid, and I'm always conscious of how much I do eat. I understand that MS, multiple sclerosis, is a lifelong disease, posing unique challenges over time. But I'm one that I continue to find ways to manage my MS symptoms, to be able to lead a rich, fulfilling life through what I eat and a larger part what I do not eat. Unfortunately, some people are misinformed, believing that MS is a death sentence. But I also want to say that research results indicate that this isn't true. And I know MS does not increase my risk of death, but that an unhealthy diet does increase my risk of death. It's mind-blowing when I sit back and think about it, take note of my own lifestyle changes before and after my MS diagnosis. Simply kind of remembering, I mentioned earlier the leading causes of death in people with MS. They're no different than the leading causes of death in people of the general population. And these causes are heart disease and cancer. Now, I want to remind you that the leading societies representing and advocating for those diseases agree. They actually agree on a healthy diet. And I want to stress that I myself, I'm a strong proponent of following such a diet. And I have been for the past well over 15 years. And I've been experiencing the benefits of doing so. So many people, they live to eat. I've grown up. And, particularly after my freshman year in college in 1990, I just ate whatever I wanted if it tasted good. I didn't care about sugars or fats, anything like that. I just ate it. But today, I don't live to eat. I eat to live. So I make wise choices, or what I believe to be wise choices. Eating some things or accepting some things, denying myself of others. Nothing's off limits for me as far as food or beverages go. I just like to again say everything should be, if it's questionable, do it in moderation at most. Simply moderation. So, there's no sense in, basically there's no sense in combining the debilitary effects of MS with any other chronic condition, whether it be heart disease or cancer or type 2 diabetes. So, two big medical issues, if we can avoid them, let's go ahead and do so. So, as a wrap up here, I just want to thank you for joining me and ask you, hopefully you can join me next week. In the meantime, I want to say pull up a seat, literally, figuratively, pull up a seat, and let's all eat to live. Thank you. This is Dawn Melody, and I'll talk to you soon.